What is this jacket? I must admit, was that your choice?
Trap 3, Trap 8. No, it's green's not a trap number, is it? Which was fun on a Saturday morning with all the ladies with their flash Gucci bags watching 6'5" me walk on a 20-hand horse.
So you have the reputation as being the game's best tipster, Pricewise. So tell us, where did it all begin for you then?
I've always been into racing, Maddy. My family live within, you can hear the race call at Sandown. They live in Esher. So I've been into racing since I was little. I was quite a good little sportsman when I was a kid. And so I was playing a lot of sport, but I got quite bad asthma. Not bad enough but enough to stop me playing football, rugby, all those sort of things. So I needed something else to focus on, and we lived right by Sandown. My parents got me a membership for Sandown. So I also had a pal that was very high up at Goodwood, so I used to go to Goodwood a lot. So from about age 13 and 14, I was going to every Sandown and Goodwood meeting, and that's how it sort of started, really.
And you seem like you've always had quite an analytical brain. You studied economics at uni. How did the tipping come into it? When did you really get that sort of bug?
Well, I don't think you can be a fan of racing without trying to work out which horse is going to win each race. Otherwise it seems a little bit pointless. So I've always been looking at it from that angle. It sort of started at university, really, when you got a bit of time and you sort of start thinking properly about things rather than, just being a school kid. And just went from there, really. I never had any plans to be a tipster or a
What was
punter.
the plan?
I liked the breeding industry, mostly. That was the thing I grew up loving, and that was the thing I really wanted to get into most. I still love the pedigree side of it,
Is that what you base a lot of your selections on?
Yeah, I like that. I'm just looking the other day, I was doing the tipping for the Supreme, and I was looking and I ended up on Sir Gerhard. Half the reason I did it was because he's by Jeremy, and it's a bit technical for everyone, but he had four winners at the festival last year, Jeremy did, and it just sort of struck my way of thinking that the chances of Jeremy's horses going up in trip, we're talking about Sir Gerhard running over 2 mile 5 or 2 miles or whatever. I thought he's more likely to stay at 2 miles because all his horses were winning over 2 miles. Appreciate it himself, Sir Gerhard himself, and the other one, can't remember his name, Belfast Banter. It was all by the same size. So that's the way I just started looking at it. It's the first thing I look at, the jockeys. When I get on my members club screen, I look at the jockey and the pedigree.
The royalties are in the post there. You got the plug.
See what I did there?
So talk us through how you analyse a race then. As Pricewise, you were saying you don't get to choose which races you tip on.
No, I don't get to choose. The bookmakers will send me the list. Then I will just prioritise the race that I think I've got the best chance in. So most of the time that will be the big field handicap. It might be, I'm prefer Group 1, Grade 1 races anyway. That's my I prefer to specialise in those type of races. So those races too. My way of doing things has always just been to watch as mainly. I don't listen. I tend not to use my ears. I tend to use my eyes as much as I can so that it falls down to me. So if I listen too much, I tend to be influenced by outside influences, and then that's really annoying when you get one wrong and someone's given you something and you sort of think, you can't get it out of your head.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so if I use my eyes more, I find that they're the best ones. If I've got one good thing, I've got good eyes. I think that's what's helped me throughout my career more than anything else. I'm not a better judge than anyone, for sure, but what I have done is I'm able to watch races with a clarity, I think, that some people can't, if that makes sense.
And talking of social media, you're very anti, and I get the feeling in many ways you sort of shy away from the spotlight a little bit. Being a tipster, I guess you must come in for quite a lot of criticism. So before we talk about the better days, how do you deal with those lows? Because they must be inevitable in your line of work.
Yeah, the thing I try and do is keep as level as possible. I was writing a weekender piece this week and I finished it by talking about Rudyard Kipling when he's in the poem If, where he says, if you can treat triumph and disaster as the same. Yeah. And that's right. That's the only way you can do it. That's the only way you can do it. You're going to have bad days, you're going to have good days. It's not easy. Trying to find the winner of 20 runner handicaps is not easy. You're going to have many, many more bad days than good days. And so you just got to keep level. I'm lucky that I've got a decent temperament for it. It doesn't mean that much. Well, that sounds terrible, but I've got kids, I've got priorities, I've got other things in my life.
How does Pricewise get a bet on these days?
He doesn't. He struggles like everyone else. I wouldn't be a huge punter anymore. Like I never really was a huge punter. I've always been sort of that sort of range. And so that's fine for me. I get knocked back just like everyone else, you know.
You've had a great record with your anti-post tipping. How has that changed for you now you're getting non-run and no bet markets? Are these markets different to bet on now than they were?
Very different. I'm a massive. I understand non-run and no bet from a marketing point and for punting point, but I find it really frustrating, because I think if you do the work and you put the time in, you can pretty much be guaranteed sure, if barring injuries, you're going to get a runner. And so we're getting half the price about horses now that were, but just simply because they're non-run and no bet.
And what about the modern state of betting? Let's tackle affordability checks first. Does that worry you? Something like that?
Yeah,
big
actually.
Threat to the industry.
Yeah, I think so. I don't understand why it has to be so stringent. You know what I mean? I mean, I've given up loads of accounts because they want pictures of me and my bank details. I'm not giving my bank details to them. Why should they know my financial situation? They just shouldn't. I understand if you're betting far too much and more than you can afford, then there should be some checks. But if you're not, and if you've been betting for a long time and people know, you can see your account for a long time, I don't understand why you should be. But look, we live in a different world now. I understand, I'm not naive enough to think that people don't get in trouble.
Do you worry for the future of betting?
No, because I think people find a way. Look, no one knew Betfair was going to be around 20 years ago, did they? New things will come up. Look at America. My brother lives in America. It's totally new and opened up out there, and he's loving, betting and stuff out there now. It's gone completely crazy, he says. So I think new things will happen. I do think, I wonder more about jump racing more than betting, in fact. I do wonder where we'll be in 30 years time with jump racing as a thing, because just the way the world's moving. But I think people will always be able to bet. There's so much money for the government and for the industry and for the country and for everything that I don't think that's ever going to stop, really.
We're getting in all sorts of skirmishes this morning, Tom. It's all Polly's fault.
Polly's fault.
What is this jacket? I must admit, was that your choice?
Trap 3. Trap 8. No, it's green's not a trap number, is it? No, they don't have any hair underneath their bodies, so they get really cold. So we have loads of them. That is the least garish of them, Maddy, I can assure you.
I struggle to believe that.
Yeah.
And you were telling us that you used to do a lot of work with the rescue greyhounds.
We used to. There's a rescue centre over the back from where I live, and we used to go up there and walk the greyhounds. That's how we met Polly, and I love them. She's great.
You're a big softie, really, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I'm a wuss. I'm a massive wuss. I don't watch as many races live as I used to, simply for the fact that I'm a bit of a wuss about it. I tend to watch them after the race. You can't go 5 minutes when you're tipping without someone telling you you're an idiot or you've done well. So I know the results straight away. And also I got family. My son's quite good at basketball now. So
does he get that from Dad?
He doesn't get it from me. He gets the height from me. I was rubbish at basketball and never played it actually, but he's massive in schools now. It's really, really big. And so we travel across this country on Saturdays watching him play basketball, which is fun. And
you say you've ridden horses as well.
Well,
so all this armchair tipster stuff, actually no. Tom Segal can ride a horse.
Well, I used to be able to. I mean, I would never say, I'm no Ruby Walsh, put it like that. But we used to live in Wimbledon when the racing post was in Rains Park, and we used to ride at the stables in Wimbledon High Street actually, which was fun on a Saturday morning with all the ladies with their flash Gucci bags watching 6'5" me walk on a 20-hand horse trot down the high street. But yeah, as we used to ride, I did it for a reason. I did it because I was sitting there watching horse racing, thinking, what are they doing? What's a jockey doing? Why is he thinking like that? Why did he do that? Why did he do that? And I just wanted to get a perspective of what it felt like, to be in that situation. Whether it made any difference, I don't know, but it certainly made me less critical, because it's flipping hard. It's flipping hard. Do you know what I mean? And so I, that was the reason I did it, to have a feeling, just to see what it was about, and I enjoyed it. It's good fun.
It seems to me like you have a very good mindset to be a tipster, because you're level-headed. You're quite sensitive to the changes that you notice. Do you think that's important to the success that you've had?
Yeah, absolutely. I think temperament is the key in everything. If you can sit there and and take the ups and the downs, because especially these days, I mean, we're talking about social media there. Half the reason I'm not on social media is that it would hurt me. I'm quite sensitive. And you don't want to be told you're rubbish at anything, do you? You know, especially when you're trying. You know, if I wasn't trying, I'd get it. I'd get it. If I was not doing any work or wasn't trying or feeling that I was doing a bad job, then yes. And there's been times when it has hurt. Undoubtedly it has hurted, but if you try your best and do what you can, you can't do any more, you know.
Tom, there's been so many good days as well, so let's talk about them. And recently as well, with an incredible Ascot 4-timer, we were chatting before, I didn't realise how big the prices were and how much they came in. Was that your best day?
One of them, definitely one of them. They had another good day at Royal Ascot a few years ago, or quite a long time ago, when 2 or 3 went in at the time. That was nice. I've had plenty of good individual tips. When all of them go in on one day, it was really nice. The best thing about it, and this is where social media is nice, is the number of letters and emails I got from people that, you know, talking about being a softie, you know, it brings a tear to your eye, because it's what you do it for. That's why I do it. Some chap emailed me and said he won £60,000. I've had lots of people phone up and say this, that and the other. You know, and so that is why I do it. You know, now when I'm young, obviously I'm mad keen on the punting, and I'm mad keen on doing it to get my way, to get forward in life. But when you get, you know, I've done that now, and the reason I do it now is for days like that.
What advice would you give people into Cheltenham? They're wanting to take it seriously. How do they approach it?
It's a good question. I think just be yourself. Just find what you fancy. Just have a bit of fun, you know. Don't go overboard, obviously, but the best bit about punting or betting or tipping or racing is finding a winner yourself, isn't it? I mean, I obviously hope that there's people out there that follow me, and I'm glad that they do, but I hope they get the enjoyment out of it that I do from actually finding the winner. So, you know, take advantage of the non-runner, no-bet rules. It's not my favourite thing, but I see there's some firms going non-runner, no-bet every race now. So, you know, stuff like that is the way to do it, and just make it fun. You know, that's the one thing that I find that frustrates me about tipping and betting, is that people take it too seriously. The idea of it is so people can, you know, have a tenner on a horse and have a curry in the evening, or go for a few pints, or take their wife out, or whatever they want to do, you know, or go and see Reading. Actually, don't go and see Reading is my advice these days. but do you know what I mean? And that's how I got into it. That's how I still feel about it. Maybe that's why I'm sort of still going. Is that it's still fun. You know, I want to make it fun. So
I couldn't let you go before asking you the most important question of all. Who is the Cheltenham Festival nap?
Oh, that's a hard one. I've got lots of fancies. I've got lots of fancies in handicaps that I probably can't reveal. I'll tell you a horse I like. I'm not sure he'll win, because he's up against maybe Bob Ollinger or Galopin Des Champs. Is L'Empress for Venetia Williams. We talked about him earlier. Every horse he beats seems to be really good. And I just think he's really, really good. I think he's sort of the unsung star horse. Honestly, if I think he was trained by Willie Mullins or Nicky Henderson, people would be talking about him like a Galopin or a Bob Ollinger or one of those. I think he's that good. So I'm really looking forward to seeing which race he runs in. I hope he runs in the 3-mile race, because I think he's crying out for 3 miles. I don't want him dropping back in trip, because he won the Dipper over 2 and 2.5, and now the Turners or whatever it's called is 2.3.5. I want him to go up in trip rather than come back. I think he'd have a massive chance in whichever race he runs in. So he's my horse I'm pinning most hopes on. He's the one I'll lose most money on. But that's my Cheltenham fancy at the moment.
Thank you for watching the latest episode of Maddy Meets with Tom Segal. If you'd like to read the thoughts of Pricewise, don't forget you can stay ahead of the field with Racing Post Members Club. Pay just £15 per month for your first 3 months of Members Club Ultimate. The normal price is £34.95. See the link in the video description for full details of how to subscribe.